stream is paid. We're actually, I think we're streaming again.
No.
Yep. People say we're working. Say
Hey, we're back.
We're live again. What? When you disconnected the computer.
It says that we're live again. So.
Right now.
Perfect.
Yeah, right now.
My mouth is full of beef jerky.
Hopefully they've been taking advantage of the downtime and eating their Owen's meat.
Here's what's happening. So it's streaming what happened about a minute and a half ago. So I would just assume you're live right now.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. It's great. Okay. You know, this class is called Things That Last. And things that don't last is Wi-Fi,
Right.
internet, Trump's presidency, and a whole slew of things. No, sorry, everyone.
Jerky and beer.
Sorry about that. We have no idea what happened, but we are back and we're ready to go. Tonight we're doing Filson. We're doing Things That Last. We're going to do different goods. We're going to have beer. We're going to have beef jerky. It's an
Pumped.
adventure. Jeremy Bennett, I just learned your full name.
There we go.
Tell me who you are and tell me your role here at Filson.
Alrighty. My name is Jeremy Bennett, as he said. I'm a manager of product development here at Filson with a focus on leather goods and luggage, bags, and accessories. That includes wallets, belts, bags, all kinds of things, as well as other product. I've done some dry bag development.
Do you do
Socks, all
that
kinds
like
of
for
good
just
stuff.
for Seattle or for the whole world?
For the whole company and across the world, yeah. I mean, there's
And you
multiple.
guys have how many stores?
14, I believe, at this point.
That's awesome. And
Yeah,
tell me,
many.
people, not everyone knows Filson.
Right, so-
how old is Filson? What's Filson's story?
Filson's been around since 1897. We outfitted the Yukon Gold Rush. And, you know, our oldest garment patent is from 1914, which is a Mackinaw. It was styled off the Mackinaw. It's the previous version of a Mackinaw wool jacket. That's what everybody knows Filson for. We truly believe in just long-lasting, durable, high-quality materials across the board. When you come into the store, you can see, feel, and experience the quality of the materials we use.
Awesome. And part of your department is also like restoration of old people. This place is famous. You bring in like your 100-year-old jacket and you can repair it. You can turn it into something different. You can make it into a handbag. Talk about that piece of what Filson does with the really old garments, because people could be watching at home and have really old garments from Filson, and people are curious about that whole program.
Okay, so we basically have a very extensive return policy. We do in-house repairs on a lot of people's garments. If there is, you know, any kind of damage, holes, seam rips, those kind of things that are covered under the warranty, we will repair. It takes a few weeks to get things repaired. We also have within our company, it's called Filson Workshop and Restoration. We do restoration bags where we have decommissioned Filson bags and given a new product to a customer in return for their bag that is met its end of life. What the team will do is completely strip down the bag and fix everything that they possibly can. Zippers, holes, they darn the holes, they re-wax, they repair leather. It's a complete restoration, and we take it back to as close to original as possible.
Awesome.
Within that, we also get garments. So we only do restoration on the bags. We've done some restoration of the apparel. It's not as big of a program as the bags portion. But as far as like chaps and things like that, we also have workshop product where we didn't believe that making another bag out of other pieces of Filson decommissioned product was really technically a restoration. So we just developed a workshop product line, and we'll make new silhouettes and old silhouettes and use different materials.
So if I were to come to Filson and buy a leather bag, I could pass it down to my kids and my grandkids, and they could return it in 100 years one day. And you guys would like fix it and make sure it's still good.
Yeah, they can bring it back, and the warranty is still.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's. Okay, we're not just doing. We're gonna do some stuff, but we're gonna drink. And for those of you at home, it's super fun. The beverage team at Canlis has picked 3 of their favorite Northwest breweries from 3 great Northwest towns.
Fantastic.
And so the first one that we're gonna start with tonight is
Lovely logo. My daughter loves owls. It's
Holy
her
Mountain.
favorite.
And I happen to love Holy Mountain with my whole heart because I drive by it every day. I live in Magnolia and I drive to Queen Anne.
Perfect.
And Holy Mountain is in Inner Bay. And this is the White Lodge for those at home who want to just have a little drink. It's a Belgian style. It's like a wit beer. And if you don't know about Holy Mountain, you can be proud now of one of the country's greatest breweries is in your backyard. So cheers. we got something to drink. We're also going to be eating Owen's Meats. And here's what's cool about Owen's Meats. There's a third Canless brother. One of them is on the chat tonight. He lives in Wenatchee, and so whenever we go and visit him, it's a tradition of ours. Owen's Meats is in Cleellum. They're a 5th generation company.
Amazing.
They make the most amazing beef jerky ever. I didn't have dinner tonight, so I'm already like halfway through this pack. I won't share it with you because
it's all good.
My COVID hands have been in there. But enjoy Owen's Meats, you guys. If you ever
on Owen's Meats, sort of.
Yeah, I've had too many packages myself.
Well, that's the thing.
I've definitely overdone it.
Yeah, there's an actual meat.
It's only one in the country.
No, there's one at Nordstrom now.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Which is ironic because we have the Nordstrom.
They came in the store.
So yeah, you can get beef jerky in a machine at Filson.
The greatest.
And it's cool to have a 5th generation family company. So
every time I bring my dog in, I get a pack, and he loves it.
So
enjoy
the beer, enjoy the meat and cheese. Okay, also in your box tonight, for those who got the box, there's these super cool kits that you guys all put together by hand, right?
Correct.
Which was probably a lot of work because we did, I think, a couple hundred of these.
Yes, we did. It was definitely a lot of work. Actually, it's a lot of fun to kind of develop and just, put the nice little touches here and there, and hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, it's super cool. Okay, so tell me, so people should unpack their kits.
Correct.
Which
set the bag and
which are
probably
all
the paper
little
aside.
Wrapped up. Set my paper aside. This is for later in the class. So set this aside. This
Absolutely.
is a sewing.
We'll start with the leather and the conditioner. So go ahead and undo the Chicago screw. These should be hand tight. Just flip it over, lefty-loosey.
And unscrew it.
Correct. And separate the fabrics from the leather.
Just so y'all at home know what's coming tonight, we're gonna have 3 portions of the class with 3 different teachers, all teaching me about things that last. And so, Jeremy, you'll be followed by John, who's gonna teach about tin cloth and waxing. We'll be followed by Marissa, who's gonna teach about how to mend things at home. So all these different materials we're gonna use. So keep them in order.
Can we do a brief overview of what the materials are? So here is our. So at Filson, we pride ourselves in the top of the line product as far as materials and things like that, just to build things to last. This is a full grain English bridal leather from Wickett and Craig out of Pennsylvania, one of 3 veg tanneries left in the country.
What does that mean to be a veg tannery?
So a veg tannery, they use all natural ingredients in their tanning of the leather. So they use a combination of different barks, different oils, waxes, and tannins in their tanning solution when they create this veg tan leather. You can usually tell a veg tan leather multiple different things. Most chrome tan, so there's veg tan, chrome tan are your 2 most common tannings of leather. Veg tan, you can tell there's usually a secondary color in the edge when you split through it. It's usually just kind of like
I see that.
A flesh color is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
That's just where the colors and the pigments and things that they've used for coloring on top or on the back haven't penetrated the core fibers, which makes it, the strongest available leather on the market.
Got it.
So that is the leather. Here we have our 24 ounce or 26 ounce Mackinaw wool, Pendleton version wool.
What does Mackinaw mean?
It's just the term we've given it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like when I say Mackinaw wool, that's kind of
and isn't the red and black plaid like the classic Filson?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, it's like as classic as it gets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have 3 different materials here. One is your dry tin, our rugged twill, which is used on most of all of our luggage. And then you have the oil tin, which is a wax. These are all paraffin wax based. The oil tin is just a waxed version of the dry tin. John will get into that more when we get to the waxing and conditioning.
And those last 2 are the exact same.
Correct.
But we're going to use them differently tonight.
Correct. One's going to be used for the field repair, and one's going to be used for
for part 1, leather, grab your piece of leather. Talk to me about...
Smell it. I'd like you guys just to, if you can, just pick up the leather and take a nice, good whiff. This is really how you can, leather people know the real smell of quality leather. A lot of the times you can pick up leather, smell it, it kind of has like I would say like a gluey smell. It's usually not the best leather. When you smell the real high quality full grain leather, you know exactly what it smells like. It's an easy way to identify if a belt that you're buying for however much you're paying.
It's just that Brian spilled.
That's quite right.
But it shows that
That's
the
dry tin and has some kind of water repellent.
But it's gonna at the end of the night maybe have more water repellent.
Right. Exactly. That is the plan.
Sorry about this.
Maybe you just.
I told you I was going to return this tonight, but maybe not with the beer on it.
So, and there are many different types of leathers that we use and are also out on the market. Specifically, our veg tan leather is all aniline finish, which means it does not have any pigment. There's slight color. A lot of color is created during the tanning process.
This is no color added.
There's a slight spray.
Oh, a slight.
Slight, not much at all, but just a superficial. Here we have a more pigmented type. So this is our full grain bridal leather. We wanted to try to make a safety orange leather. And you can really feel when you're looking at pigmented and non-pigmented leather, there's something that's called drag, which you can't really see on camera, but you can run your finger across leathers that have a high pigment, which is acrylic paint basically. And it's just a drier drag. It kind of moves across the leather fast.
And is that good or bad, or it just is what it is?
It is just what it is. What it is.
Okay.
Yeah. When you have an aniline finish where there isn't as much pigment in acrylic paint, the drag is slower. You can just feel it. If you want to drag yours, you can feel the difference between that and that. Got to apply the same pressure to kind of get an idea.
This feels more animal-y.
Yes.
More real.
There you go. It's grabbing at your finger more as you drag it across.
Yeah.
Yes. So
like that one time a bear grabbed at my hand.
There you go.
Yeah.
And there's also different treatments within the leather. So, aniline finish, these are both aniline finish. This is aniline finish here as well. These have been tumbled. You can kind of see the crinkling effect. I don't know which that comes across. So this is created by tumbling it in the drum and adding heat.
So I often see that like in fashion, they do that.
Yep.
And
Boots also have
why?
it. It's just a look.
It's just a look.
Yep.
And it's just achieved by tumbling.
And tumbling, it softens it, makes it more applicable in certain situations, like a bag.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not gonna. It's gonna be really hard to make a tote bag out of rigid veg tan leather. You tumble it to soften it up and just kind of create some not so rigid type of a leather. And you have others. This is kind of an exotic skin. This is a moose hide. We haven't made anything out of that, but we also use deer skin and elk and all kinds of different leathers.
And not to ask a stupid question, but all leather is the skin of an animal.
Yes, it's just like it's the
and
epidermis.
In this case, this cow that gave its life for this leather.
This is so.
Are they also used for beef?
Correct. It's a byproduct of the meat industry.
Got it.
So Wicked and Craig gets, all their hides from a byproduct of the meat industry. It comes into the tannery as hair-on hide, full-on brined, salted skins. Wow. It's quite the experience to visit a tannery if you ever get a chance.
Wow. Okay, so tonight with our leather that I'm holding,
yes,
what should we learn?
So here we're just going to go ahead and go over just how to gently condition your leather. So if you want to open up your little nifty canisters of wax and conditioner, the black label is your leather conditioner, which I developed. It is
Wait, you developed?
I did develop our
This is like your recipe?
The company that I worked with, yes, we built the recipe together. Has a beautiful balsam fir undertone. It's very nice. It's all cosmetic grade ingredients. Like we were just saying, leather hides, it's a skin, and it should be treated like a skin. The most important thing with leather is you want to hydrate your leather. You want to condition, you want to keep it moist. You don't want to overdo it because that can create rot within your leather. Here's a perfect example of a belt that's needing some love in certain areas. It starts to discolor. The top grain can start to wear off. By conditioning it, you're moisturizing it, and also you're reducing the friction on the surface of the leather. So,
if people have an old belt right now, would you recommend they go get it? I mean, is that
if they see something like this in their closet,
you should just go grab it right now.
You mean it's like it's a little bit cracky, it's a little bit dry. It feels like your hands after when they're like cracky and gross.
Absolutely,
right.
In the middle of Arizona in the summer.
And quality leather products, you're saying, need to be fed moisture or you will destroy them.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, high quality leather down to, your genuine leather or above that. Split, I can't remember the third grade, sorry.
So even like
there's different grades of quality of leather. There's full grain, top grain, split grain, genuine leather, and bonded leather.
Should I condition like my nice wallet that's made out of leather?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, here's a perfect example of a wallet that I've been conditioning. It was close to this color when I first got it. I've conditioned it once or twice. I've had it for about a year now. And what it does is it helps build patina. It keeps it nice and soft.
And it makes it last forever.
Absolutely. You're not going to get dry rot. You're not going to get crack where it, if you didn't condition this, you might have cracking that starts along the spine here where it's flexed quite a bit.
And so your leather conditioner is made of all natural ingredients.
All cosmetic grade ingredients. Yep.
Okay.
A lot goes a long way. With this stuff, you really just kind of rub your finger around, light, gentle pressure. You'll start to see the oil or the wax melt with the heat of your finger. And that's, there's some oil there. You can pull out a little bit more.
Oh, wow.
And
it turns into oil.
Correct. So there's a lot of coconut oil in there and other oils as well. So when you're conditioning your leather, you want to, whatever you're conditioning, you should probably first pick an inconspicuous area of whatever you're going to condition, because it will change the tone of the grain. So if you're taking an old belt or an old wallet or something like that and you want to start conditioning it, I mean, immediately it's so dry that it sucks up so much of the conditioner and it darkens it. Now,
and you're making the leather so happy.
Correct. Yeah, and tomorrow that'll be gone. It'll just continue to soak in.
Oh, wow.
So because it's so dry, I'm sure the core fibers of the leather are quite dry too. So it's just going to soak all that stuff in.
So with my home sample, can I?
Correct. Just take a little bit on your finger and pick an area on there and just kind of start rubbing it in. Spread it around, and you'll see it start to dissipate and kind of soak into the pores of the leather.
Jeremy, while you guys are doing that, people are just wondering, like, can we do this with sort of any handbag, any Filson bag, like any quality piece of leather? Does this work on my dining room, my leather dining room chairs, my leather sofa? Like, how universal is a good
Yeah, I mean, you can always test your sofa leather, things like that. Sometimes a lot of those leathers that are used on different bags and things like that have a lot of pigment and will resist absorbing that conditioner because the pores in the grain of the leather are closed off by the paint.
Okay.
So what you can do is you can try it, rub it in there, leave it there for a little bit. If it soaks in like the next day, great. It's absorbing and it's conditioning the leather.
But you're not going to hurt it. You're not going to hurt your leather by adding this to it.
No, it might just cause a little bit of discoloration, but not much. So you kind of rub that in, and if you have any left over after you do that, you just hit it with any kind of a dry, soft cloth.
I don't wait till the next day to hit it with a dry cloth?
Yeah, I would let it soak in.
Like let it soak overnight?
Yep.
And the next day kind of buff it?
Yeah, if there's any kind of residual kind of residue or anything like that, which I wouldn't suspect, and then you just kind of wipe it down.
Okay, so I knew we were talking about leather tonight, and I thought I'd put this to the test. I went pumpkin picking a couple weeks ago with my kids.
Fantastic.
In my leather boots. And I came back, and my boot looked like this, which is super gross. And it's covered in mud. These are nice. These are handmade leather boots from Texas, a place called Helm. And I came back, and my boots looked like this. What should I do?
Well, obviously, first you're going to want to remove all the dirt. You can do this in a number of different ways. You can kind of go at it dry, where you just kind of knock off some of the dirt. Just be careful not to, dent your sole or scratch the leather or anything like that.
Can I use water on it?
Also,
can I scrub it with a brush? Yeah.
Woo!
It's exciting.
Yeah, you absolutely, I usually use a hard bristled nylon toothbrush.
Got it.
You
so
can
get all the dirt off.
Get all the dirt off.
You can use
wet
water.
it first. Yeah, you can wet it first if you'd like, and just kind of use a damp cloth or whatever.
Okay, so I knew you'd probably say get all the crud off my boot.
Yep.
So I cleaned one of them.
Ah, there we go. Perfect.
But I've owned these boots for a couple years, and I've never put any leather conditioner on them.
It's probably about time.
It's about time.
Yeah.
And so I would make sure it's totally dry.
Totally dry.
Before
make
adding
sure it's clean.
Make sure it's clean.
And start in an
And the same thing with my
area.
hands.
Correct. You can use your hand, or you can use a.
And does this this thing would cover my whole boot? No problem.
No problem.
Like this goes a very long way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you overdid it, you would have some of it would sit on the surface for a little while as well. So I mean, you see that you barely put any, and you're doing the whole entire toe cap. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's really easy, and it smells
very
good.
easy. Oh, it's such a nice smell.
You guys sell these at the store.
Correct.
But they're bigger, right?
4-ounce
And they're
cans.
like $15 or
Yep, $18.
18 bucks for a
The highest quality ingredients you can use in a conditioner for sure.
and it will go forever.
Absolutely. I mean, 4 ounces will last you quite a while with your leather goods.
Okay, that's awesome. So I do my shoes, I do my wallet, I can do my purse, I can
Yeah.
do any leather good.
Any leather good.
Just feed it. It's thirsty and hungry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good way to put it.
It's like
How often? Like you're just sort of looking for
You know-
the cracking or the dryness.
Well, if you're seeing cracking and dryness, it's a little bit late. You should probably hit it once and then come back in like 2 months and do it again. But I would say every 6 months, depending on the climate you live in.
Is this
I mean,
waterproofing at all? Are we
this
sort of-
actually does have
Okay, so
waterproofing characteristics
for those of us
as well.
in the Northwest, which is all of us this
Correct.
month and for the next 5 months, this is like a great maintenance thing to do.
Absolutely.
For basically all your leather shoes.
Yeah,
like
prior
now.
to the winter seasons, for,
Yeah.
for sure.
Just not suede.
Correct. You would not want. I mean, you can use this on suede, but you need to make sure that you do it in a very inconspicuous area because it will affect the nap, which is the brushed portion of the suede, which is the lower epidermis of the leather.
it's actually very sad.
You could do that.
I could.
Yes.
Okay.
But it will, like I said, it will change the nap. It'll press it down. There are brushes and things like that you can use after you've conditioned it and hit it with the brush and pull that nap back up.
Cool.
I just want to say it's very satisfying. It's like relaxing after
Absolutely.
after doom scrolling much of the day on Twitter.
And normally I suggest taking out the laces so you can get in there really easily into the tongue crevices.
Take the laces out.
Yes.
All right. And do I want to do the inside or not?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, you can if you want. Your
Okay.
feet might smell nice.
What about my kids' soccer shoes? But that's maybe not real leather.
You need to make sure that it's real leather.
How do
There's
I
not
know
many cleats that are made these days that are real leather.
Okay.
Yeah.
My old soccer shoes
Yeah.
are leather.
What happens if I add
I
this
think
to
Adidas
fake
Copas.
leather?
Copas are real leather.
Still use real
Yeah,
leather.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good. And it's good on my hands, actually.
You can use, like I said, cosmetic grade.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else about leather we should cover before going to the next thing?
I mean, the leather that we use has very specific purposes in the products we make. We use it for straps and handles and, belts and load-bearing stuff. That's why we use such thick and high-quality leather. There are other leathers that are specific for other products, like we were talking about before, chrome tan leathers, different colored leathers, things like that, exotics. So this is mainly what we use here at Filson.
Awesome.
So Jeremy, one question. I want to make time for Mr. Duce coming up here, but people just asking, Filson boot oil finish is for oil tanned leather. Is that different from veg tanned leather?
I'm sorry, say that question again?
So just the Filson boot oil.
The Filson boot oil, correct?
Yeah, it seems to be for oil tanned leather. Is oil tanned leather different than veg tanned leather? Is that?
No, not necessarily. I mean, there's oils and waxes used in veg tan leather too.
So it would work for both.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Awesome.
And the boot oil is very similar to the conditioner. It's more just liquid form.
It's just easier to kind of work around.
Yeah, and it has a
I bet
little
you just found a cloth.
dauber on it, which helps you get into the crevices a lot easier than trying to shove your finger in there. And
One woman asked if she does her couch, which that 10 is probably not going to be enough for your couch.
absolutely not.
How long to wait before she sits? If she has a soft pair of pants on, can't you just kind of sit on it right away because you're kind of like working the leather?
Yeah, I would
or-
definitely.
or
If
would
you're
you wait?
going to do your couch, it's most likely pigmented leather. You should try it in an area, see where
Give it
how far the
soaks.
conditioner soaks in.
Okay.
Give it a day.
Okay.
If it's still on there, you should probably wipe it down before you go sitting on it because you don't want that. It
Or-
is made of
or
oils.
Sit on it with leather pants.
That too.
Okay, so that we figured that one out.
Two birds, one stone on
maybe
that one, I'd
there's-
say.
No,
Cool.
I got a piece of beef jerky that's like takes a lot of chewing.
There you go. There you go.
I'm
Yeah, I
not-
mean, look at the difference there. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
They're like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's nice and easy.
No, wash that down. Jeremy, thank you.
You're welcome. I mean,
Could you introduce who our next expert is?
absolutely. The next guest here.
Lights for dramatic effect.
Yeah, it's
It is our
dun,
first
dun,
time
dun.
filming it. We're trying to figure it out. But yeah,
After
we'll
a
just
certain
keep
hour,
going
they're
with it.
motion sensitive,
Yeah.
so we're not moving around enough.
You guys need to move more. We have really the light sensitive. Yeah, we're figuring it out.
No, it's great.
I think it's over against that wall in that other room.
All right.
I'm waving.
Is it really motion?
We're all waiting to see if the motion lights can come back
No,
on. But
I think it's over in the VM area. There's
you
a
guys still
thing.
pretty look good. It's
We
a
look
little
good.
dark.
Let's keep going.
I would just
So,
press on. Yeah.
Next person you're going to meet is Jonathan Duce. He is a member of the workshop and restoration team.
He's the guy when
Wonderful
I come
guy.
to the flagship. He's always out front sewing and like making bags.
Yep, I mean that's what they do in that little spot there.
Yeah.
This is kind of the larger area that we get to work in and do, just larger units of stuff. So he's going to show you how to wax your oil tin, your rugged twill, re-wax and wax raw cotton.
Okay.
So
Jeremy, thanks so much.
no problem.
Take
Wonderful.
your beer.
I will definitely for sure.
And John, come on. Come on.
Come take the stage, John.
Move or lose it.
Put my leather away. All right. John,
How was it?
it's fun. My hands feel like soft and delicious.
I know.
And I have one boot that looks great. And that's so fun. Okay, so you're going to teach us about tin cloth. Mm-hmm. One of the things that Filson is most famous for.
Yeah, that's correct.
But let's not do that without drinking. So
Of course.
our next beer. This is E9. It's called 100 Ways.
Okay.
It's from Tacoma. It's the first craft brewery in Tacoma. It's our favorite brewery in Tacoma.
Nice.
What's that?
It's so good.
Oh, they make.
E9, like
they
everything
also make
they
a
do.
Pilsner. I'm like more of a lighter beer guy.
Everything they touch is awesome.
They make a Pilsner, which we have on tap at the restaurant, and it's my favorite. This is an IPA. It's going to be a little more yeasty, a little more like hardcore. If you ever go to Tacoma, try to visit E9 because it's in a historical. I think it's registered historically. It's in this old firehouse.
Nice.
And it's just like beautiful and cool, and it's another beer to be so proud of in the Northwest.
Perfect.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, we'll keep drinking. Oh, that's so good. I mean, there's like caramel on it and like
Oh, it's
hops
awesome.
and yeah.
Love it.
Okay,
Thank
tin cloth. Take us there.
Tin cloth. So
Which I need the middle three. Is that right?
yeah, what we're going to be working with are the middle three. So the lighter color one. I'm going to move some of this stuff.
Yeah, get all that leather.
Yeah, get that out of here.
Jeremy's stuff.
I know.
It's left a mess.
So you guys have probably undone your stack. So we're going to get the lighter color one, this darker one, and then of course the twill, which feels a
Which
little
is like
thicker.
the thickest one.
Yeah, so what we can do, these are some of our heritage textiles that we use at Filson.
Okay.
We use tin cloth, which is the waxed one here in the middle, the darkest one.
Okay.
This is going to be a 15-ounce waxed canvas. It's been pushed through heavy heated rollers with wax on that, and it impregnates and gets really deep into that.
Does that happen here in Seattle?
No, we buy it from our supplier that way.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And am I right? And when these first two is the exact same material, it's just one has wax.
That's correct. So
Okay.
they're the same weight, meaning the same how dense it is and how thick it is. So the same weight, but this one's been waxed. Now then we have our third piece here, which is our 22-ounce twill. We use this a lot for our luggage and bags.
Yeah.
I'm sure if anyone out there has an original briefcase or a padded computer bag or what be it, it's going to be out of our 22-ounce twill. This comes with a slight dry finish wax on it. So you can't really, it's not all like juicy like the tin cloth.
Lightly waxed.
Lightly waxed.
Okay.
Still very, very water resistant.
And it's not just
repellent.
Filson that uses waxed canvas.
Well, wax canvas, yeah, it's been around for quite some time. Filson, we've been using it since the early 1920s, and
which is when you started growing your beard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's.
Got it.
Sorry. It's since, but like you were saying earlier, like if you have a Barber jacket at home, or
Yeah,
some
there's-
other great brands that use this because it's like what's the advantage of tin cloth? Why is it awesome?
Well, it's cool because in many ways it's kind of a heritage sort of piece that's been tried and true over the years. You know, wax canvas essentially started in the 15th century by sailors. What they did is they found out that if you coated the sailcloth with fish oil and tar and other things, it helped keep the sail dry, which meant it was less weight, and it also meant it caught more wind. so it could push the sailboats better. So it's been around for a minute. From there, it evolved and got.
They would like take an old sail and be like, "This would be a great shirt."
Well, they did. They did capes. They did cape coats with that.
Got it.
But they eventually changed it, and they went towards linseed.
Because they're waterproof.
Yep. So they started going to the linseed oil game, and then eventually we got around to the paraffin wax-based canvas, which is what we're using now. Which is common.
What's the difference between wax and paraffin? What makes wax paraffin wax?
Well, paraffin wax, it's, from what I gather, essentially it's going to be a petroleum byproduct.
Okay.
Similar to candles and crayons and that sort of thing. That's all paraffin.
It's also what they dip your feet in when you get a pedicure. I've only heard.
So
I love it with all
so
my
they
heart.
say.
Okay, so keep going.
Perfect. So what I'm going to show you guys today, and what we're going to kind of do, is we're going to wax this dry tin cloth in the middle, the lighter colored one.
And
So-
just to be clear, can people wax, just if in case you're not a Filson garment, maybe you're doing Carhartt or something like that, can you wax another another cloth in that sense? It's just like this method works for lots of things.
That's a great question, and yes, you absolutely can. As long as you're using it, if you're going to wax your Carhartt or whatever, just make sure it's 100% cotton.
Okay.
You know, that way it will really take to the wax. As I demonstrate with the heat gun and everything, we want it to really soak into the fabric, and only if it's 100% cotton. So you could do your gardener's hat, you could do, anything, your apron.
And if you want to follow along at home, this would be a moment to go find your heat gun, which no one has,
Yeah.
or a blow dryer, or your friendly neighborhood fireplace.
Yeah.
Great. So the heat is an essential part of this process.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I use a heat gun because it's fast. I'm waxing stuff a lot at work, and I got to do it quick, so I'm going to use a heat gun to get hotter, faster, and everything else.
Should we plug ours in?
Yeah. Well, I've got that one's kind of my backup.
Oh.
So
This just got real intense.
We got the big guns here.
Okay.
So yeah, this what you're going to want, if you do use a hair blower, put it on the highest setting.
You want
And it'll
as
take
hot as possible.
Yeah, this one.
What about like a toaster? Could I like a piece of toast?
Sure. Toaster, if you want, you could put it in your oven.
Put it in your oven.
If you're daring.
Like maybe 200 or below.
Yeah, let's keep it safe.
Okay, but in any heat source
Yeah,
works.
but next to the fireplace on a hot sunny day outside, anything like that.
Okay.
So, hopefully that answered the gentleman or whoever's question was.
Well, and no, we'll get there.
Okay.
Let's do this first.
Okay, let's get the red tin.
Okay.
And we're gonna crack that baby open. So this is the
It
exact.
also smells delicious.
I don't love this smell as much as the leather conditioner.
Am I wrong?
I can't smell.
Uh,
You can say it smells.
I mean, the leather
He works
one
with it every
is
day.
like
the leather one's
special.
a little bit better.
Okay.
It's a little better.
Jeremy
It's
put
a
his
little
heart
better.
and soul in that leather.
So this is the exact same wax we use here at Filson and that we sell on the retail floor.
What does a tin of this wax cost?
$10.
$10.
Oh well, for a 3.75 ounce can, it's $10.
Awesome.
Yeah, and usually with one of those cans, you could get pretty close into getting a full jacket there.
Is this the I bought a tin cloth jacket several years ago, and in the pocket was a tin of wax.
Yeah.
You guys always do that, right? You
Yep.
include a tin of wax.
Yep, that's a little sample tin.
And you're saying like on this old Filson jacket, one tin would do the whole jacket.
With the newer can, the can you had was the sample can, one of these.
Why you gotta give me the sample can?
Sorry, man. That's the sample can.
Okay. Awesome.
So I brought that one out just in case too. So
Oh,
what we can
nice.
do is we'll grab our dry tin, the lightest color one. We're going to work a little bit on this one. So the idea being that we're wanting to smooth it out the best we can, and then we'll hit it with the heat gun and we'll warm it up to let it soak in.
Okay.
So sometimes what I like to do, if I'm doing a big project, I'll take a business card or a credit card or whatever it may be, and that way I can almost use it like a putty knife, and I can apply it all over like that, something like that.
Why a business card and not an actual? Because it's soft.
No reason, just because I never use mine. So,
I mean, those things cost, as someone who has expensive business cards, they're like 30 cents each.
It's nice. It's like
At least.
That's how, you just realize that John uses all his business cards just for.
Yeah.
So it just makes there's so many cards. That guy's such an evangelist for Filson. It's like now he's just waxing his tin on.
Yeah, I need another box of business cards.
So quick question. So some people who are like might be grabbing an old Filson garment.
Yeah.
Good to clean the garment first before we wax. How do you, with a brush, or how do we do that?
Absolutely. So you're going to want to get as much of the heavier junk off that you can. A bristle brush. You could do some light spot cleaning with a sponge.
Okay.
But for the most
all that
part,
stuff off
you just want to get the
dry and
big
clean.
stuff off, because what happens is basically because of the wax, it will attract some debris and dirt and sawdust and whatnot, and it ends up giving this beautiful patina over time. But you can't really clean this off completely unless you send it out for an enzyme bath, which is a service they do at the retail store.
Enzyme baths are.
To clean all those marks off is sacrilege.
You got to earn the marks.
Yeah.
I mean,
enzyme baths are no good.
Marks are good.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. So, because this takes time to age and patina to what you do in your lifestyle.
This is
earning your stripes.
Yeah.
So.
This is special.
Yeah.
Because just these two jackets are the exact same product.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you see those somewhere?
It's the exact same.
The exact same.
Same with these two as well.
And so often, if you were to go try on this jacket in a store, it feels like you feel like this. You're like, oh, this isn't nice.
Yeah.
But you don't realize that those type of after a while, it's the most comfortable, soft thing on earth.
Yes, and that's because it is 100% cotton.
Got it.
It keeps that nice warm feel to it after it breaks in.
Awesome.
So yeah, super cool.
Okay, so teach me how to wax.
Okay, so what we'll do, you can use latex gloves if you have any. It is wax, so it gets kind of sticky on your hands. So I find that using as hot as water as possible to wash my hands after is fine.
To get it off. Okay.
But it's totally up to you.
It's not gonna hurt me.
No.
It's just maybe
It's
annoying.
just, you're just gonna have a little sticky hands.
Okay, I'm gonna go for it.
I mean, I came prepared again. The options there. I'm gonna go in
I'm not
without.
gonna use it.
I don't need it. We're good.
If you're not using it, I'm not using it.
All right. So what we'll do, you can see it's
so different than the leather.
It's pretty
softer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we'll grab just get a little dab out of there. A scoop.
Okay.
What we're gonna do, we can work on any section at all of the square here, but I'm gonna start in the center.
Again, it's the lightest piece of our three.
The lightest of the three.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and just kind of start spreading that out as evenly as possible. And you can see it's I got it kind of lumpy here and there. That way I can just start kind of spreading it out more and more.
Got it. And you can tell when you need more because you just run out.
Yep.
Can you go too thick or too thin?
No. I mean, you can go too thin. The tricky part is doing it even. So you'll want to make sure you don't go over the same spots too much.
What happens if you don't do it even? It'll just be discolored, or?
It'll be just a little bit darker in that area, but after about a week or two, it all just will kind of come
I'm pretty
together.
sure that mine is not even.
You know what? You're crushing it. You're doing great. You're doing fine. You don't have to do the whole thing, but we'll just get it all on here. I'm going to go ahead and cheat and just use my business card. And
You can't. The business
see?
cards.
Oh, I know. I'm going to get in so much trouble for this.
And just to be clear, do you have multiple waxes like on the site, or is it just sort of one wax?
We
Which
just
one are you using?
we just have the one oil finish wax here.
One oil finish wax. Okay, and it's just okay, cool. So
Yep.
if we can get that on the camera, that'd be awesome.
And we're doing this piece of 100% cotton.
Yep.
I'm wearing an apron. Could I wax this apron?
Yep. That's going to be made out of our dry tin, so you could totally wax that apron.
And why would I want to?
You know, it's going to really depend on the application. I would do it for if it was like an outdoor barbecue apron.
Like my barbecue apron.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to have it waxed inside your house because,
Okay.
you know, having it outside is it's just, you know, you might rub against some hot materials or sharp corners around the barbecue or whatever, and it'll provide a little bit more protection that way. But inside, I don't
So
totally think it's
generally,
the same.
I'm going to choose to apply wax to cotton when I want it waterproof.
Yeah, when we're going to want water resistance.
Okay.
And then to also strengthen the canvas as well.
Because it helps it last longer.
It helps it last a lot longer because it kind of acts almost like a glue, and it keeps all the fibers really, really close and tight together. So even if you do get a little tiny hole, kind of like on this jacket here,
Yeah.
it's not going to keep spreading super, super big over time.
Oh,
It's
so
going to kind of stay there because it's kind of
So
glued.
if I get a hole in one of my garments, I don't necessarily have to sew it. I could wax it all over it, and it'll spread slow. It'll last
it
longer.
could help. It could help, but it's better just to go ahead and repair it.
Wait, hold on. I took these shoelaces off earlier of my shoes.
Yeah.
Could I wax my shoelaces?
Sure. In fact, it's actually a great idea because, again, as I said, it acts kind of like a glue. It'll keep all those fibers tight together, and so when you're going through your speed hooks and eyelets in your boots, it won't wear down your laces as fast.
Okay, well that's cool.
Yeah, and it'll kind of burnish over and
Could
end
you
up
wax
almost
your
be
hat?
like leather. I wouldn't wax, not this hat.
But don't touch my hat. But like, would you ever wax a hat, like for a waterproof?
Like a favorite hunting hat.
Yeah,
Totally.
hunting hat.
Or, yeah,
Totally.
As long as it's all cotton.
Yes.
Is that beaver felt?
Rabbit.
That's rabbit. Rabbit felt. Okay.
Felt. Is that a-
Yes.
Okay, and then now we've waxed. Now we got to apply heat.
Right. And my hands are all sticky and whatever. That's fine because it's part of the game.
Okay.
So here's your heat gun.
Okay.
Or hair blower, heat source. What I'll do first is I'll show you on mine,
Okay.
and then you can do yours.
Okay.
Because what we're going to do, there's a few things we're going to kind of look for. Right now, I don't know if the cameras quite show it, but it's pretty shiny, which means it hasn't gotten soaked into the fibers. It might be a little loud here for a second, we'll see, but what I'm going to do is I'll get this heat gun going. I'll start working in this area over here, and we'll see this wax change. It'll go from this glossy sort of top coat to a dull sort of look, and that's what we're going for.
Got it.
Oh, this thing's hot. So you'll see it start to pull up a little bit,
Oh, totally.
and then see how it's, so I'll cut it there. So you can see this area here has been soaked in, and this area hasn't.
So that's it. It turns from shiny wet to dry matte.
Yep. And you can see I need to go a little bit longer there and a little bit longer over there.
So this is the fastest way to do it. But again, you could do it slowly by the fire or...
Yes, just as long as it's gonna end up looking dull like that.
Hot sunny day.
Really hot, yeah.
Really hot. Can you overdo it? If you,
No,
Not really.
the-
So if you're gonna make a mistake, like get into it. Like
This heat gun will get up to 1100 degrees, and if I'm in a hurry, I'll just go as fast and hot as I can, and it'll actually start smoking a little bit. It's not a big deal.
that's
it
the
just
wax,
smells
not your favorite pair of pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. I should do my laces. Hold on.
Does
Yeah.
the wax? Does it make? Like I have a pair of hunting pants. Does it make the pants water resistant? But is it more resistant to abrasion, thorns, and that kind of stuff? It's just
100%.
Okay.
Yep, because the thorns, they don't end up getting snagged like on nylon or anything else.
Just kinda slide
it just
down.
slides across. It just skates across, you know.
Okay.
It's like my fingernail. Yeah, friction reducer, sure.
Okay. Cool.
Nice.
It's awesome.
You got your lace done.
I got a lace.
A lace. So that's the tin cloth. Mine, you can see, I didn't really do it very even because there's a
Right.
little bit darker spot, but
Same with mine.
it's no big deal because we'll let this cure overnight
It's patina.
and it'll probably even itself out a little bit.
Now, why isn't the one I just did as dark as the one that was pre-waxed?
Well,
Because this is done by a
This is-
machine and it's perfect.
like I said, it's done by machine. It's put through rollers. The fabric is put
and it has
through
more wax in it.
Yeah, it really gets packed in there. And so that's the idea behind reproofing and rewaxing, is maintaining that.
Okay, and we're almost out of time with this part, but the canvas,
The twill. This is the twill.
the twill, I could also do.
Yeah, this it does come with a light dry wax on it, but again, if you want that really rich patina, worn-in look, and the durability of the wax, you can go ahead and do that. That's no big deal. It also is a little tricky to.
It's harder to apply.
It's trickier to apply evenly, and it takes a lot more wax.
My bag that I carry every day, I say I brought stuff, is this bag. See, I'm actually a customer of yours. This is my everyday briefcase that I take to work.
He leaves it on the floor.
Yeah,
behind,
you
and
trip
we
over
all
it.
trip over it. The entire office trips over this bag.
But
So
I
can
love this
attest
bag
to the
so
fact
much.
It's
Yeah.
stepped on, tripped on.
I've had it about 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And to take care of it, should I wax it? Jeremy, should I be feeding the leather handles?
Absolutely.
I haven't done that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so this blue stuff here, this is the tin cloth. So you can absolutely wax that. In fact, I would. It's pretty dry. I can kind of feel how
That's
dry
hurtful.
it is.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
Yeah, no, it feels very dry.
Yep. And then this panel here is the twill, actually, but in blue. And you can wax that as well. So
Got it. And that'll just make it last longer and
Last
be healthier
longer.
and be waterproof. and-
really, yeah, absolutely. There was a one over here that I saw earlier. It might be yours.
Does it need some help? I just did the leather.
It looks great.
Thank you.
It's a good looking
Yeah,
bag.
Wait, hold on. You think he takes
my
better
brother-in-law.
care of his bag?
So if you want to see how to take care of a bag, Brian, I don't know if you heard the guys at Filson just say what a great job I did, but I'm just saying, I wax it.
Do you remember?
so you can-
You probably made this bag.
Yeah, we did fix this one. Yeah.
Did you fix that one
I
up? Was
think
that your
so.
work? Is that?
It's not mine. Is it yours, Marissa?
I don't think so.
Oh, I was hoping to meet the maker.
Yeah, it's a restoration piece.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
can
Mark has always the fancy stuff with Mark.
you can see how great of patina that's developed and how shiny. It almost looks like leather.
Okay.
My wife gave that to me. It's a special. Yeah. I try to take care of it.
John, thank you so much. I'm going to invite Marissa, and we're going to go to phase 3.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Marissa,
I gotta clean
Hello.
up a little bit.
yeah, and take your beer. Don't leave a mess like Jeremy did. Okay,
I'll drink it if you leave it.
Marissa,
There you go.
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You need a beer?
Yeah.
Brian, there's some concern that you open a lot of beers and drink a lot less.
I-
So I know for the timeliness of the show, it's probably good that that ratio stay in the right direction. But just saying, the chat has noticed.
Our third beer is Aslan Brewing Company. So
I
we
love
went
them.
south for E9 in Tacoma. The first one, which is Holy Mountain, is here in Seattle. We're going north for Aslan. It's Bellingham. Again, one of our very favorite. I think our wine director said these are 3 of his 4 favorite beers in the whole Northwest.
Wow.
I didn't know what the 4th was. He said it's not available to the public, so we didn't serve it. But super fun. So hold on, I need to try this one. This one, I've never had this beer ever. I've had the other 2 before.
They make wonderful stuff. I've been to Aslan many
Oh,
times.
you've been?
So. Oh yeah, I love
What's
it
it
there.
like?
It's awesome. They have a really cool space, and all their beers are amazing. So.
This is light body roasted nuts and chocolate.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's a
Winter.
brown ale. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's dark and
That's
angry.
good. That's winter's here. It's time.
That's your thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's super fun.
Yeah.
Okay, your specialty here, you also help this whole department and you make
Yes.
things with your hands and you
Yes.
restore. And
Yes.
You're the sewing master.
I wouldn't say that. I think I
It's
tend
what those
more,
guys say. So
I tend more towards the sewing than I do to the leather work, just because I have less experience with the leather. But I have learned a ton since I've been here from
Okay.
John
Yeah.
and our
In
other
this
coworker
class
Will and
especially.
Jeremy. Yep. Yeah. Covered pretty much everything. There's
Yeah.
nothing else to know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
okay, so teach it. What are you gonna teach us tonight?
Okay, so today we're going to be learning how to do what is called a field repair. We're calling a field repair, which is just to say when you're out in the field and something happens, you snag something, your coat gets a rip in it, just a quick, easy way to sew it up. And we're just going to use a whip stitch. And I don't know where any of my tools went.
A whip stitch.
Would you mind handing
What do
me
you
one of
need?
those packets and a pair of scissors, please?
Yeah.
Perfect.
One of those. Pair of scissors.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, this one's already open.
I'm gonna
Got it.
just eat some jerky while you're talking.
Perfect. I'm also going to steal one of these from you.
Do it.
Thank you. All right. So for this, we're just going to, you can put whatever kind of hole you want in here, and we're going to just stitch it up. So
This is the last piece we haven't used yet.
yeah, so we're going to use this one next, but first we're going to use another piece of the oil tin. So you got two of those. One John was showing you with the waxing demonstration, and the other one we're just going to show how
Great.
to sew it up. So just poke a hole. There should
Poke
be
a
another
hole.
pair of scissors over there
Just
if
to
you're
put a hole.
interested.
Or
I'm
rip it.
gonna use
Put
a
a hole in
pen.
it.
Or something.
Yeah. I'm just going to put a hole in
Okay, I
it.
broke the pen. That's the high quality that Filson is.
Exactly.
I just broke this poor pen in half. There's more scissors.
There you go. Yeah.
Or something.
Yes.
Very
so put a hole in
strong.
it. Rip it open a little bit just to
Okay.
simulate what it's actually going to be like if you put a rip in it rather than a clean cut, because rarely are you
Oh.
going to get a clean cut.
I really.
That's okay.
Is it okay?
That's totally fine.
okay. Great.
The dirtier it is, the harder it is to finish, but that's okay. All right. So you're going to open up your little sewing packet,
Okay.
and in here you should have a little flosser buddy that's got two different kinds of thread on it and a needle in it.
Okay.
So
for folks at home, just if you don't want to rip this one, if they're darning something at home, feel free to grab any garment right now.
yeah,
that
yeah. If you have a
need,
whole,
your pair of socks or anything you got a hold of, we're gonna learn how to do this, right?
totally.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I only gave you a yard of each of the threads. So if it's a really big hole, I would say maybe find some thread.
What's the difference between the two threads here?
Okay, yeah, so that's a big deal. So we're gonna start with the orange thread. You're gonna take that off. This is called this is a braided waxed thread. So as John told you all about the wonderful properties of waxing, it keeps the thread slick. It keeps it easy to use, and it strengthens the thread. It is also braided, which is something that is very high quality as well. Which, if you look really closely at it, you can see that the whole thing has been kind of braided into a tube, which means it's going to be a lot harder for it to unravel. Most thread is just spun around.
You were saying earlier when you go hiking or camping, you throw a similar kit just in your first aid kit. Like let's have a little clothing first aid or tent first aid.
Yeah, yeah.
Throw a needle. And where would I buy this thread?
I believe I know McPherson's, who sells us our some of our leather working supplies. They have it, or just the internet, the magic of the internet. This is Tiger brand thread. They're really high quality. You can get a little bit or a lot of it, and we use it for all of our hand stitching that we do with our leather goods. And in the workshop, we do a lot of small leather goods.
So this is Tiger branded waxed braided thread.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, and it comes, I believe the manufacturers are in Germany.
And do I thread the needle?
Yes. So step one, thread the needle. We gave you a really nice big needle with a big eye, which makes everything easier. So you're just going to pop that through.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Another nice thing about the wax thread, it's not going to fray and unravel on you on the end. So it usually is pretty easy to get it through your needle. Then for this one, the beauty of the braided one, the braided thread, is that instead of trying to tie a knot or try to keep this in place, if anybody's done hand sewing before, trying to keep your little tail together is kind of hard. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the long end, and you're going to pass, hold on, sorry. You're going to pass your needle through it in order to create a little lock on it.
Okay, hold on. You are stabbing the
middle of the
long
thread.
line with the needle, and you're pushing the the needle through the thread and pulling it through.
Yeah. And that's going to lock it in place for you so that
No way.
it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it keeps it in place while you're sewing, which is awesome.
I hope everyone at home saw that. You just take the needle and you stab the thread and pull it through.
Yep. And
Awesome.
it should stay in place.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So you got one that you got a hole that goes all the way to the end.
I'm in bad
Okay.
shape over here.
We're gonna start at that end then, because you're gonna want to keep that in line with itself, if that makes sense.
Got it. I'll start at the. Okay.
Okay. So we're doing what's called a whip stitch. It's pretty straightforward. It's kind of going end over end, if anybody's done that before, rather than like straight through.
Okay.
So we're going to kind of wrap the raw edge of the fabric here that you have with your thread. So first, you're going to want to fold it so that your raw edges are lined up. So this is what it looks like.
If you're working on the outside of the garment or the inside of the garment.
It depends on how you want it to look. So if you want to be able to see your stitching, you want the outside to be sticking up. If you don't want to see your stitching, you want the outside.
I want to see my
I think it's
stitch.
kind
You
of
wanna
cool to
see it.
stitch.
I want to like show
come on.
off the fact that.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and that's why we gave you the beautiful orange thread. Yeah. All right.
Say in the field, you would probably have the garment on.
Good point.
Yeah. You also might have the garment on.
Oh yeah, you can't hear Jeremy at home, but in the field, you might even be wearing this thing because it's
Yes.
cold, and you can just do it right here.
Yeah. Totally. Yes. So what you're going to do is you're just going to stab through both layers.
Okay.
Try to keep your end lined up just so that everything kind of stays in the place that it was. Now, the hard thing about this big needle is that it's harder to shove through the fabric,
Yeah.
but you can do it.
I just pulled mine all the way through.
Yeah. So try it again.
Okay. And
So you're going to want to pull through, but you're going to want to stop, and you're going to want to give yourself a couple inches at the end there,
Okay.
and just leave it where it is.
Okay, done.
Okay. And now we're going to do that fun little trick where we go back around. So I've got it like this. That's my end. This is my raw edge that I'm trying to stitch up and sew.
Right.
I'm going to come back around here, and I'm going to stab through that end again of the...
Oh, you're gonna stab through the tail.
This is another cool thing about the braided thread is it's sort of a quick built-in knotting technique that you would otherwise have to be making a little knot for yourself. And it just saves you a lot of heartache to be able to do that. So tighten it down. You got that. And then if you want, and I would suggest this, you just tie an extra little knot on it to keep it safe.
Use my little tail, tie one more knot.
Just one little knot, yeah. Just a regular,
A regular old knot.
yeah.
Okay, so we stabbed again through the tail, tied a knot.
Tied a knot. So you got your anchor. You got your base.
I got
You
my
your
base.
set. Now you're just gonna keep your two sides together.
Keep it folded.
Keep it folded. That's okay. As if your thread's anchored, that's all that matters. So you can just because you want your thread to be anchored somewhere
Great.
in your garment,
Great.
right? But it's okay if it's only on one side or the other.
Yeah,
Sometimes
mine's only on one
Brandon,
side.
have you sewed something before? It's your first time.
my
I'm just curious.
This is my first time.
That's what I thought.
That's-
That's why we put you on this class.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
It's amazing to me how many people will come in and ask if I can. I just have friends who ask if I can sew a button on for them, and I just think, man, you never learned how
No,
to do
that's
that.
why we're here tonight.
I feel like it
turns
doesn't get
out-
taught a whole lot anymore.
Not anymore.
We're bringing
no.
that back.
Yeah,
this
I
year.
think the year after I took home ec in middle school, they canceled the class, so
Okay.
I caught it right at
What's
the
next?
right
broke
time.
home ec.
What's
Okay.
next?
So once you have them together,
Yeah.
you're gonna stab through both layers again.
Okay.
And with this size thread and with this size hole, I'm gonna pace it at about 1/4 inch apart and about 1/4 inch to 1/8 away from the edge of that raw edge.
It's kind of hard to pull the needle.
Totally. So the ratios, you can get most sewing kits that you'll find at the store have a really small needle with a really small eye, which means it's harder to thread your needle,
Right.
but it's probably easier to get it through some stuff. Harder to get it through thicker stuff if it's a thinner
And
needle.
do I always push the needle through the same side each time?
Yes, so that's what makes this a whip stitch, is that we're going to go through and so we came out the top, right? And we're gonna go back around to the bottom and pop back out the top again.
Okay.
So you're just going kind of like you're circling, you're winding, spiraling your way down
And you call that
edge.
a whip stitch.
It's just called a whip stitch.
There's some advantage to a whip stitch.
It's pretty quick. It is, I think, makes the most ergonomic sense in a lot of ways. It definitely secures the fact that you have, your 2 layers sandwiched together. If you were doing what's called a running stitch, you're trying to do like a straight stitch, and it just is not quite as stable.
Okay.
If I pull it too tight, the fabric goes.
And that's okay. I would recommend trying to keep it about at, like you can kind of see on mine here, it got kind of tight up on the edge of the fray, but this is all stuff that is not really functional fabric anymore, right? Like some of the yarns came out, and this is just little threads that are hanging, and so you don't want to get too close to that because then your thread can rip back out of that same
it's
seam.
not strong.
Yeah, so you want to stay far enough away that you've still got 4 or 5 threads between you and the edge and the needle.
Okay,
Just keep it strong,
I'm
and then
going to go on a limb here.
yeah.
Let's say I cut my arm open. But in my first aid kit, because you had me prepared, I have my needle and my thread. Would this work?
Yes.
I know you're not a doctor.
With the strong caveat of you're going to need to make sure it's sterile.
And I would just hold up a lighter to the needle, right?
Yes, but I would be more worried about the thread being sterile. It's really hard to sterilize cotton because you can't, if you light the cotton on fire, it's gone.
Okay, but if I'm like gushing blood, and do I really care about an infection?
Yeah, run it through if you have rubbing alcohol or something, just antiseptic, something, vodka, whatever you got.
And this exact stitch will work to sew up my wound.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my understanding, but
Okay.
once again, I am not a medical professional.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same principle.
If your wound is underneath the rip in your, in your shirt, you can just
do
sew
two
it all in one.
do two at the same time.
Tiger, wax, thread that stuff all.
Yes.
This is why this is not a medical class, actually.
A whip stitch works to sew skin.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty ancient technology, right? We've managed to now I feel like everybody gets their scars super glued shut, but it is still something that people are using.
Yeah, you can also use duct tape, right?
Yeah. That's the other thing that's
The most
always in my
important tools
emergency bag.
when I go camping.
Yeah.
Always a roll.
Here's the thing, though, is if you're using this wax, if you have something that's waxed, you can't put duct tape on it. The adhesive's not going to stick to that duct tape, so you're going to have to sew it back together.
Got it.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So, yep, you can do this all the way to the other end, basically, as long as that takes you.
No, it's cool that you just keep it folded. It makes it a lot easier.
And, of course, you have it folded, so there are a couple of ways you can kind of finish it out where you can get it to lay a little bit differently.
Okay.
But essentially, you can kind of see once you start pulling it, that 1/4 inch on either side of that tear has now been kind of taken out of the center of the fabric. So it is going to shrink it down a little bit. It's going to change the shape.
Right.
Because it's just not laying flat. If you want it to lay perfectly flat, you would have to get a patch or something to slide behind it and then attach the patch to the back of it to keep it totally level. But this is the down and dirty, fastest version of keeping your stuff functional out in the middle of your hunting trip or wherever you may be.
Okay, so when I'm at the end,
Yes.
how do I finish?
Very similar to the way you started. So, another hot tip too, if you're having trouble getting it through the end, I always just like to kind of push it onto the table. That sometimes helps the needle go through if it's not.
Because it is hard to push through this tin cloth.
That's what thimbles are for. Frequently, is they're either to protect the thumb on the exit side, so you're not poking through,
or to push it through.
Or I use it to push it through, which might not be the correct way, but
So I'm gonna go through, and then I'm gonna just poke it through and tie a knot. Again.
Yeah. So I'm not all the way done with my holes, but you can just get to the end. I would go like one continuous circle, so maybe go back through the hole that you just did again, so that it's one big loop. And then you can stab through that loop that you just made, the braided part of the thread there, and pull that through. That's going to anchor it a little bit. And then
Boom.
tie a quick little knot into the thread, if that makes sense.
Oh, you went back to a previous stitch and just tied another anchor.
So I noticed you didn't clean up the rip at all. Do you do that after the fact, or does that even matter?
You can as you go. I mean, depending on how fast you're going or how bad the rip is, it does sometimes help to get rid of some of that stuff because it will, it can contribute to the fraying. Yeah, if you have the stuff. But also, once you start pulling it out, I mean, then it's just gone and it's...
Okay, and then you just cut it.
It wasn't functional anyways. Yeah, you just cut the end of it.
Hold on, let's test it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, that's like rock solid.
Yeah, it's rock solid.
Can't pull it apart.
That's kind of what
Okay.
the back looks like.
Oh yeah, that does look better on the other side.
Yeah, so that's if you don't want it to be visible.
Right.
You're going to want to do, the reverse of what we did, basically do all this stuff on the inside of your garment rather than on the outside.
Okay, we only have just a few minutes left.
Okay.
Talk to us about doing this material.
Okay, this is for our button. So in your little packet, there should also be a button. These guys, and then of course you're going to need the rest of the thread that was left on here.
Same needle.
Same needle. We're using the same needle. These are big buttons, so and pretty sturdy cloth, so we can use the same big needle. And you're just going to unwind this whole thing.
In general, if you're sewing something with more delicate cloth, you'd use a thinner needle, so you're making smaller holes.
Totally.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. The smaller the cloth, or the more delicate the cloth, the smaller the yarns in the cloth is what you call the threads that actually make up the weave of the fabric. The smaller those are, usually the smaller the needle you're going to want to use. So you're going to double it. Instead of just doing...
Pull it all the way through.
Pull it all the way through, so you got two, they're the same length. And then you can tie it in a knot if you want at the end to keep it at the same length, but you don't have to do that because I'm going to show you a different way to avoid knotting, because knotting can actually be the worst part of sewing sometimes.
Okay, I'm not going to do it.
Okay, so pick wherever you want to put this button on here. And we're going to start from the back side, which doesn't really matter in this case, but you can start from the back, pull it through. I had a knot there, which just kept me from going all the way through.
I thought we weren't adding knots.
You don't have to. I did. You don't have to.
Well, I want to do what you're doing.
It's just, I mean, like, you know how you pull your thread through earlier on this one?
Yeah.
That just stops it from going all the way through.
Okay, hold on.
But it's not a big deal.
I need all the help I can get. Okay. So I have my knot. I have the thread doubled.
Mm-hmm, and you want your knot on your back end.
Okay.
And so then, this is the front, right? No knot, nice and clean.
It's like roulette. You keep stabbing it until it finds it.
Yeah, and this is something you get better with at time too. You kind of like feel around. I basically put my finger right behind every single time I sew, which means that I stab my finger a lot, but I've learned the correct amount of pressure, so I usually don't make myself bleed.
That's wonderful.
Comes with time. So you're going to do an anchor stitch, which is basically what we did at the beginning of that one, minus the pulling through the braided part. So you're just going to go around the same two holes a couple of times.
Hold on.
So
I came up through the bottom.
Okay. Oh, you already put we don't need the button yet.
Oh.
We got to anchor our fabric in place.
Sorry.
Or our thread in place. And we're just going to do one quick anchor stitch. You can do it if you don't have a knot. I would recommend going around 3 times. Otherwise, you can just do it once.
I always do the button right away. So you're just creating an anchor.
We're just creating an anchor. So this is the stable base.
You've got to
So
create.
a question around the thickness of the thread. You don't by chance know the diameter of the thread, do you?
So the one that we gave you guys, the one that we're using is Tex 60. Tex is like the whatever you call that, the calibration for thread. Most home sewing stuff, quilting stuff, is going to be more towards 30, which is thinner, smaller diameter. This is what we use on all of our luggage and all of our clothes here at Filson. So it's a little
Filson tough. You go
Filson tough.
You go 60. Okay, exactly. I am anchored.
Okay, you're anchored. So, you're on your right side? Do you have your thread out on the right side of your fabric?
On the button side?
On the button side, yes.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Let
You can just go right back up through that same hole.
Okay, I'm on the button side.
Okay, so we've created 2 holes basically, right? We've got this little loop here. We have 2 holes, and we're only going to really make 2 more while we're doing this. Okay. Does that make sense?
That's not what I did. Well, it kind of is what I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just kind of looks like a little bar, just a little dash.
There's a little anchor spot and then the thread.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And periodically you're going to want to check the back just to make sure your thread's not getting out of control and looping out on you, because sometimes that will happen and that's very frustrating. Okay, yeah, so now you're gonna put your button on.
Thread the button.
Okay, and I like to do a little crosshatch when I'm doing my buttons. You could also do a bar technique, but we're gonna do crosshatch today.
So I'm gonna go diagonal.
You're gonna go diagonal, so you're gonna go bottom, or I'm doing bottom right up to top left.
Okay.
And I just put it just through the button first, and then we're basically gonna make a little square that mimics where these 4 holes are here.
Oh, so I
right
don't
up here.
poke through the button. I move the button to this. I don't care about the button, and I go to a spot that's just real close.
Oh no, you wanna go through the button. Let's
No,
see
I'm
here.
through the button.
Okay, yeah. So then you go diagonal. Find your diagonal hole.
Find my diagonal hole.
Yeah.
Oh, and
then find it. Just because it's hard to poke around when you got your button really close up to your fabric and figure out what's going on back there.
Got it.
So that's all that is. It's just kind of giving yourself a little bit of slack and a little bit of room. So we've gone diagonal, so we're gonna basically mimic the shape, right? So I came up through there and went down through there. So my thread should be there and then going down through there.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna pull that through. And you can refine it, make it really tight, or you can give it a little bit of slack. And we want to give it just a little bit of slack and a little bit of movement, because if you imagine you're trying to get a wool jacket around
I
this.
hate when the buttons are too tight.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't button it if the button is like so flush into so you just give it a little bit of
little bit of
wiggle.
give. Yeah. So if you can look at your button, you want to be able to see some sky between the button and the wool when you're sewing there.
Is there a term for that space? Is there like a button
Call it
sewing
ease or something like
No.
that.
Would you like to coin it tonight? Would you like to just say, that this is like just call it the Marissa?
The hover area. I don't know.
And then I just keep using the same holes.
Yeah. Okay. So you went across, and now you can go back in that first hole that you made.
Right, because you look on the back and you see where your holes are.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah. So I went back through that same hole there that I had started with, pulled through. And now you can do this too with your thread, just a single ply. You don't have to double it up, but it goes twice as fast if you double up your thread. So, so I came out there. I'm going to go back down there. And now that it's a little bit tighter, I want it to be a little bit tighter now that I'm getting into the point where it needs to be however tight it's going to be. I'm going to just pull on it a little bit. And then on the back there, I should basically have a little grid happening.
And how many total
passes
do you do on a button?
I usually do 3, but it's totally up to you what you think is the right amount.
You can't do too many.
You can't do too many. You will run out of thread eventually, which we gave you about enough to do 3 is what we calculated about. So I would do about 3 times around. You're just going to go, in and out of all those same holes. And you'll notice, so if you have a crosshatch on the top, you're going to have little bars on the back.
Yeah.
If you want to do the bar technique, you'd have a little crosshatch on the back.
And the back of mine doesn't look maybe like you'd hope.
Yeah, so that's
what does your back look like? Oh.
Marissa, I'm hearing it's called the shank.
The shank.
Apparently, there are some pros on here.
Yes.
It's already been named.
Yes. Yeah. We have not created the shank part yet, but we will get there.
Okay.
This is so if you don't have super thick fabric, you could do this really uptight close, and that'd be fine. Or you can do the shank method where you get it really nice and tight, or you float it out a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. This feels good. Okay, so how do I finish it?
Okay. So once you got your 3 put on there, or your 3 times around. So for the last one, this is my last pass on this one. I'm going to put the needle between the button and the fabric.
You're not going all the way through.
Not going all the way through.
Okay.
And then this is the part where you're going to create your shank. Make sure you still have a little bit of give there. Give it a little test, see if you can see some sky. And then you're going to hold it. You're going to hold this part really tight, the fabric really tight. And then you're going to wrap your thread around it a good 3 times, 4 times, as many times as you want, really.
I've done something terrible. Hold on.
Brent, it's literally sewing a button. Is this your first? Wow. Can we get a close up on what just happened? So if you're at home,
I made a mistake. And I don't know if it's coverable.
It probably is. So you can back yourself out of any situation. Usually, I mean, you get better at this too.
This one's pretty bad.
So yeah, you can back yourself out by just passing your needle back through the hole that it went through.
That made
you
it
can
worse.
do that. Oh.
But I hear you. Hold on. We're just gonna don't look. We're just gonna cut that on. So the shank. You take it through and you wrap it around.
You wrap it around, give it a good 3 spins, I'd say.
Okay.
And then do a knot version of the same thing. So you're going to go around, but instead of just wrapping it, you're going to pass your needle through, right?
Got it.
And then that creates a knot. You
do
do
it
that
again.
a couple times. I would do 3 of each. Once again,
3 knots.
as strong as you feel, this part is sometimes very
how often that button
satisfying.
gets used, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is already going to be way stronger than almost any button sewn onto any garment you get because almost
That's
all...
saying a lot when you're in the Filson headquarters.
Yeah,
That is
well,
saying a lot,
almost
yeah.
all buttons are now put on by machines, and so they do a quick little
Machines.
thing, but we've already put way more effort and work into it. Exactly. They're running me out of a job. So, and the way you can finish this, instead of having to try another knot, is you literally stab through the center of your shank.
Through the shank.
Through the shank.
You stab it.
And if you've done your shank correctly, it should be kind of tight and hard to get through.
Okay.
And then this is the part where I like to use the table to just push it all the way through. And then you've got a little hidden tail. You clip it as close up as you can, and then you don't have anything left, and then you can cut the back there. And you've got a clean button.
Let's just, for comparison's sake, let's just look at the 2 buttons.
Don't quit your night job.
Yes. Well, chances are you just something just got a little tangled up back there, and it is recoverable.
I mean, the
You just
people at
kinda
home
pull
told me to
on it.
drink more beer.
The point is your button got sewed on, and in a field repair, I feel like you just buttoned up that Mackinac jacket
In
and
a
stayed
field
warm all
repair,
night.
my button's going to stay on.
Absolutely
Yes.
is. Yeah. They might not
Yeah,
hire
there's no
you
hope. Don't even-
around
No, it's
here,
okay.
but
It's a lost cause. But this is together.
Yes.
Marissa, thank you.
You are so welcome.
Jeremy, thank you.
Yes, sir.
John,
Thank you.
thank you. So much fun. Thanks to Aslan, to E9, to Holy Mountain, and to Owens Meats. So much fun. Hey guys, tomorrow at Community College, we're going to do champagne and oysters.
That's
Tune in tomorrow night. Should be fun.
should be fun. If you're not having fun with champagne and oysters, that is your own fault.
That's your own
all
fault.
I'm saying. So
That's
just
your own fault.
bring it.
Huge thanks to Filson. If you haven't been to the Ballard store or the one downtown, it is so beautiful and so fun. Thanks, guys, for being a part of Seattle and making this city better because you're an
Retail
institution.
therapy. This is it.
This
you
is
gotta
it.
come on in and just
I
do
know.
it. Yeah.
I know. I got beer. I'm going to get wax on it later.
You bet.
That's it. Have a great night. Thanks so much, everyone.